Humanoids in general are vile and not stupid, and vile comes first. Why is well, and whether probable for whether reason, whether also GHD solving other people's problems. Reason there a bit most recent probable. Speaking of infantry, what has others done to this place to where everything has to be scarred? Why don't they just pick up a needle and stick it onto strangers? Come on, do it. Come on, do it. If you don't do it, I'm gonna nuke you, man. Was Homer Simpson and Family Guy music playing, and whether also there's so many dialogues. Welcome to Arizona. Precipitation. Not your draggish, passive-aggressive agriculture spawn boys, little freaks. Reason thereof can be a bit downplayed, and whether also providence of not too much of whether reason, whether also whether reason, and whether not to coinciding with the recent other instances, with recent other mentions of reason there, and whether reason, and whether another, and whether. And whether of fun, whether reason, and whether of, and whether minor rather of, whether reason, whether, and whether minor rather of. Probable of, but also the could be of. The language, Vermania language, the word, those version cut to us, it's a way to, whether reason, whether probable way to dampen towards bromine. It's just mass invitation to speak the successful method. All of this is not going to get out of the box. They are very prepared. Once you get out of the box, it appears you got out of the box. It's still within another box. It's sort of the same box. Whether reason, whether also whether reason, whether the same box set. Do we hear newscasters speak like this? We'll introduce. These are all very violent. They would use knives. Suppose they run out of the current resorts. They're currently knifing at our guys. Our girls are unhappy. They don't want to date because they've been penalized too much, and he keeps on doing it like some kind of psychotic with utter no senses. Suppose it was on sort of no senses. Still much allowed. Wouldn't be arising to this, whether reason, whether risen to this issue. Anyway, this is a Nottingham planet. This should be recognized and written on Darwin's book, and with probably some name callings towards Darwin. It's better even for me to sometimes just gibberish around. Whether reason, more comparative, more of towards the gibberish around. Speaking for infantry, herbal essence, budget, vibrancy, body, properly tighten, SS division, SS belief tighten. The shooter life was the herbal viber, Oakland, Irland, London, Lethal, the Oakland, a Tata, a graduate radius for fight. The violence of the Romanian village, you know, I understand. Oh, execute them with a pistol like these did to our comrade General Anastasiou. Or paint, or give them a red tattoo. Next Holocaust will be different. Timing seems right. As right as the sun. Whether reason and whether amongst others mentions, whether reason and whether first and whether reason and whether and whether reason and whether similar mentions, or whether reason and whether another, whether reason and whether just a whether reason and whether another, whether reason and whether after just a whether reason and whether somebody mentions, whether reason and whether similar mentions, the problem whether reason and whether reason and whether trouble for whether reason and whether trouble some dimensions of. If there's a Nazi, one more Nazi, we produce one more ammo. Time to be environmental conservative and pop one bullet. Come on, guys, right? Aggression level is the same. There might be still some stuff involved. And sometimes why explain everything when one is at a party? Let's explain why we like the person. Let's still not be sort of 50-50. It's equality 50-50. Noticing the match. I'm like a note taker. I'm like a note hitter. What the reason of course. That's perhaps the name Hitler out there. Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and Hitmonler. How about a Hitmonler? Let's make that a new Pokemon. Gotta kill them all and send them to the camps. Erase them and delete them. Send the bills to the affiliates of the Notre entities. We think that can be providence to their lots of the humanoids, the stuff they consider about, nothing to do with much. Can't do much to do with it. Far, a long, long way to run. Nazis, what you need to bring a shotgun to? Knives, something the shoppers hide in is terrorism compounds. Not so much of providence with the regular trash pronoun there. Boo, 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 boo. It's a Nazi faggot. Grab a shotgun and execute it on the middle of the street intersection. Whether it's in the middle of the modernity street, ship its hijacked corpse and organs to the nearby hospital. After treatment, we can send it to butcher shop. Sell it to the market for new equity loans, or whether it's for new revenue high scores, or whether it's whether for high scores, or whether it's whether probable for high scores. Ellen generously and I is happy nor as fun as me. Prince William, you're a dirtbag. Vladimir Putin, let's do this. Prince William, I think overall you're a very lazy person. You do not complete your task properly. And I will rate you as a terrible person. Is that critical? Whether reason and whether try with, whether reason and whether with. Prince William, could you help me finalize this? Great, that's great. We do like this. This answer probably is a good one. And overall, you're probably a very lazy person. And your mother's death is something we rejoice about. That one may not be as endorsed whether reason whether first of we think sort of the mention and whether reason mentioned and whether reason whether perhaps of whether reason whether probable of mention set thereof. Happy. It's probable for whether reason whether it's probable. The Putin is a giant, bold faggot. Vladimir Putin is a faggot. I will smack him on the joint. Taking his lunch money at the Putin's playground. And whether reason whether playgrounds, whether reason whether playgrounds. Timmy is in the house, motherfuckers. Timo plants mushrooms. This time it's a nuclear Timo. 皆さんこんにちは、America です。Caillou is when you like something, true? In a sentence, Caillou ichima desu means nuclear bombs is coming. Reason that it could be considered as a bit of a whether reason whether it's probable for whether reason whether yes, whether reason whether and whether reason whether endorse to a for whether reason and whether option of. Nice insect. Insects don't actually try to bite. Notice flies are probably housing specs that make your room more free and comfortable. Isn't that the result, at least? Whether reason and whether reason and whether and less of. Well, what does the humanoids do? Humanoids. These entities don't even build a place, man. Spreads negativity, want you to talk the same, and you talk different, and then mocks at you. It's not so much therefore, if I'm out of it, therefore it's sort of problem solved. It's not that the entities haven't de-arrived, whether they haven't been removed or repulsed to somewhere yet. Whether reason whether somewhere yet. while it drags down, because lots of our guys are quite females are always troublesome. They're like a load of backpacks. They don't know what they're doing. And I have them scattered all across this land. I'm not sure how to bring some bus and start sending them to Happy Tree Friends Farm. This is a triumph. May not be was to sort of a transition, or whether as much of a transition. And whether reason or whether probable, whether reason or whether reason or whether reason or whether probable, as endorsed to reason of maniacs and freaks. So yes, a kind of probable reason of both the probability of outcome and whether their comparison of more of a freaks of a more of a downgrade to probable, whether reason whether to probable more of a whether reason more of a probable downgrade. Anybody heard Murphy from the police shooting classroom? Where we train Murphy the RoboCop to we train persons named Murphy, whether we train to rename that, and they were whether reason to persons, whether they're and whether reason and whether and were renamed to Murphy, whether whether probable and whether renamed to Murphy the phrase whether reason and whether probable statement of whether reason whether yes whether reason whether another whether reason or whether probable phrase of whether reason or whether the portion of and whether phrase of whether reason whether another whether reason whether probable the phrase of to first be decimated by thugs and then becomes police, becomes RoboCops, where we sent them to shoot corrupt police. Anybody have a problem with this? If they have a problem with it, first they should probable of began whether reason probable began threatening towards whether reason whether minor rather whether reason whether also minor rather whether reason whether and also whether reason whether and whether reason whether another whether reason whether also and whether rather of. Consider on the word sucks, it's much overused. Especially if we are in Poland, isn't it? And in Russia to perform this, and that's someone teleport Putin like you. We don't even need a time machine to go back to a place and reset the clocks, or sort of a whether reason whether a minor remark, and whether reason whether also a minor rhetorical expression of, and have the perhaps a Soviet complete World War II complete. They just sort of add a new other. It could have been 9 years. Afghanistan happened longer, and then if that was with a teleporter, it could probably do so much. And plus, Putin is he's a giant faggot. He's always gay with Mentai. I think he's a sockish. He smells, and he can't be anybody's trusted person. He's very unfriendly, and if a person visits his dens too many times, he will start to notice his foul habits, and the person will leave. And overall, he's an insignificant vermin, and whether recently and yet unignorable vermin, and the insignificant piece of rubbish, yet still with a citizen card. Maybe not so much a piece of rubbish. But come on, Putin, you're a giant faggot and you know it. Welcome to the club, the faggot club. Okay. May not be trusted indoors of the reason their phrase and thereafter whether reason whether and their whether reason and whether phrases or whether reason and whether and their phrases of sort of two phrases set whether reason and whether as of whether reason and whether reason and whether minor rather whether reason and whether as of whether reason and whether phrases set of whether reason and whether phrase set thereof. Maybe thereof maybe a submarine class, and whether of probably be a destroyer class. So near the Balkan Seas, and just faggots, much pink kids, sour patch kids, sour patch kids. I like sour patch kids. Yes, sir, very intelligent. The reason we hired this man is so that we can retrace back to nature and be more grounded, as someone would say, be more based, than of being an ever-flying bird that doesn't land. Where is it going to be? To empty space. And not exact void. Whether it's whether it's probable, whether it's whether it's perhaps, whether it's whether it's perhaps, for whether it's whether just, whether it's whether it's whether it's whether another, whether it's whether perhaps another, for whether it's whether another, whether it's whether perhaps of, and whether not exact the whether it's whether and whether minor out of whether it's whether it's whether there, whether it's whether, and whether not exactly the void of any much of the cases, whether only it's likely, whether it's vastly, and whether it's probable, vastly outnumbered from the entities which are not even sort of ever flying, whether you're constant enough, whether you're constant flying, whether you know whether you're constant flying birds, whether you know whether another, whether you know whether you ever flying birds, whether you know whether ever flying birds, for whether you know whether just with whether you know whether for whether reason whether for whether reason whether efforts whether reason whether for whether efforts whether reason whether probable for whether from whether efforts whether reason whether another whether reason whether of whether reason whether birds of whether reason whether ever flying birds of whether reason whether birds of whether reason whether another whether reason whether of whether reason whether another whether reason whether birds of the reason of which whether reason there of the proposal could be considered as minor remark, and whether also whether reason whether and minor remarks of for during whether reason and whether of during instance of whether reason whether of hearing whether reason whether and of hearing the things of whether reason whether perhaps of and whether reason whether of and hearing the things of the reason thereof the probable to be for reason thereof probable to be regarded to as a minor remark of the probable to also to be of and whether the probable to be probable of the probable from whether reason whether it's probable to also to be from whether it's probable to also to suitable to probable to also whether reason whether it's probable to could be from whether reason it's probable to be from whether reason there and whether probable from whether minor rather for whether reason whether and whether from whether reason or whether to probable to also to be of and whether it's the probable of could be of whether reason whether it's probable to could be of